Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're doing something a bit different, and honestly really exciting. We are going on a highly focused, micro deep dive into just one single, absolutely critical clinical note. We're going to unpack just one sentence today. But let me tell you, it's a sentence that perfectly, and I mean perfectly, captures that critical intersection of clinical therapy and human anatomy. It's going to be fascinating, so let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is the exact 8-word source text we are analyzing today. Listen to this carefully. 1. Thrombophlebitis with administration through peripheral vein. Every single word here carries a very specific, undeniable weight in documenting how a clinical intervention actually played out in the real world. This isn't just some abstract theory we're talking about. This represents a documented physical event that resulted in a very specific medical complication. Take a second and just let the gravity of those 8 words sink in.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly the context of where this kind of critical information lives. You know, it is so incredibly easy for us to get completely lost in the endless paperwork of healthcare. It's like a giant puzzle sometimes, right? But looking at the faint lines of these medical charts reminds us that this isolated note represents a real, documented clinical reality. A healthcare professional recorded this because it was an absolutely vital piece of this specific patient's ongoing story. It's a necessary, permanent part of their clinical record.
Let's break this down even further. I want to deliberately isolate just one word for a second: administration. When you really think about it, that word reminds us that this is an active intervention. You are deliberately changing the baseline state of a human being, and doing that inherently requires acute awareness and absolute precision from the clinician standing right there at the bedside. It's a massive responsibility.
Let's move to and see how this builds. We go from that heavy active administration directly to the peripheral vein itself. Now remember, we aren't talking about a massive central line here. This is a surface-level, highly accessible, but incredibly delicate vessel. And this delicate vessel is now being subjected to the direct, localized impact of whatever therapy is being given. It's highly vulnerable.
Which brings us to a really practical, essential question. What happens during administration through a peripheral vein? Think about that for a second. You're introducing foreign substances into these accessible surface vessels, which immediately initiates a localized biological reaction. The phrasing in our note points directly to a crystal-clear cause and effect relationship that clinicians absolutely must anticipate every single time.
So the crucial point is the resulting complication: thrombophlebitis. Just look at that word on the screen. This is a painful, highly localized, and potentially dangerous reaction that was directly caused by the administration we just discussed. No way around it. It is the exact, specific consequence documented by the clinician in this particular case.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it brings everything full circle for us. Returning to the imagery of the physical record, it really makes you meditate on the fact that a single documented event like this literally anchors our clinical safety protocols. I mean, this tiny piece of documentation is the entire foundation for why we routinely monitor IV sites. It's why we meticulously check for redness, heat, and swelling. It is real-world evidence driving patient safety guidelines, plain and simple.
So we return to our primary source sentence one final time: 1. Thrombophlebitis with administration through peripheral vein. It is such a concise summary of an action, an anatomical location, and an adverse consequence. It serves as a stark, permanent reminder that absolutely every clinical intervention is significant. And because it's significant, it requires careful, meticulous documentation. To wrap up our explainer today, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. How does this single note actually change your own clinical awareness? Why does this one isolated record matter so much in the grand scheme of things? The next time you're documenting a procedure or reviewing a chart, I want you to remember the immense, real-world weight carried by just a few simple, accurate words. Thanks so much for joining me on this focused breakdown today. Stay curious, keep asking questions, and I'll see you next time.